management of KWAM.
Welcome to the Variety Hour on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Listen to you move your mouth. I bet you come from way down south. Now don't tell me, let me guess. You from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good. Talk Memphis, high on the bluff. I swear I can't get enough. Listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah. Talk Memphis.
This is the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. I'm your host, Dean Harris. I'm with CrestCore Realty over on Summer Avenue, so we're excited to have you with us this morning for the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Appreciate you guys listening to AM 990 Memphis, 107.9 FM, or if you're listening online to KWAM 990. The Memphis Real Estate Hour will concentrate on investing in Memphis real estate, and we will focus on our residential real estate market as well. We'll have local and national vendors, partners of ours on the show from time to time, sharing knowledge with you on how to become an investor in Memphis or how to become a better investor in Memphis. So we're excited to have a guest in here this morning, Miss Wendy Greenlaw with Chandler Reports. We're going to talk with her about our market trends and what's going on this year. And then we've got Dan Butler that's on the show this morning, and he will be discussing 1031 exchanges with me, and we will dive into that. I remind you guys every single show that I am an investor, so if you have that old home that you need to sell quickly, or if you know someone that has a home they need to sell quickly, call me, 901-619-6170, or you can text me at that same number if it's easier, and we'll get you a cash offer today on that. I don't care the condition, and I don't care where it's at either, so just give me a call, and I'll be happy to help you with that. Facebook Live, guys, we're on Facebook Live. The show's Facebook page is The Memphis Real Estate Hour. Be sure to join us there. If you're a national investor, or if you're going to be out of town, you can always tune in via Facebook, and we post the shows on the Facebook page right after we're finished, and we leave them up there. So if you hear something you want to go back and check out, they will be on the show's Facebook page as well. Last week's show, Dan Butler and I discussed the 4 pillars of real estate, and your price, my terms, or my terms and your price. Super interesting show, very informational for all my investors. I had some really good feedback from some of my California investors on the show, so I was happy to be able to provide some information for them. So that's on the show's Facebook page as well, the Memphis Real Estate Hour. You can go check out last week's show. As I mentioned, today we've got Wendy Greenlaw with Chandler Reports and ChandlerReports.com. She is going to be giving us some market trends, and then Dan and I will talk about 1031 exchanges, Memphis market trends, and whether you should sell or hold your properties in 2018. So I'll have also two really good investments of the week here at the bottom of the hour, so I'll be excited to bring you those now. But let's jump right into it. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, Dean. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. It's
haven't seen you.
I know it. It's been a few, I guess, maybe even months. I don't know.
Quarter.
It's been too long, I think. But we're happy to have you in here this morning.
Thank you.
Guys, you go to ChandlerReports.com. You can get all the latest updated trends of what's going on in our city. You can be sure to check that out. It's great information. So tell me, Wendy, what's going on this year? What have we seen in January so far?
So January is kind of continuing on the trend from last year. I just want to go back to 2017 for a moment. Mm-hmm. So last year, 2017, Memphis Shelby County was the second year in a row we set that highest average sale price. It was up to $165, and it was up 5% from the prior year. And then as far as revenue, total sales volume, we hit $3.1 billion, which is the highest we've seen since 2007.
Right before it crashed.
Well, 2007 was, yeah. So crashing. 2006 was the best year we've had on record. And I always compare, and I always say, we'll never see 2006 figures again. There's just no way. It's never going to be possible. And so in 2006, there was $4 billion.
So we're getting there.
Well, I still don't think we're ever going to get there.
Yeah,
I think that the average prices are increasing so much, and then in January this year, they were up 14% from last year.
So do you think we're heading for, I mean, we got to be heading for some kind of dip. Surely it won't be that big of a dip.
Well, I think the prices are so high for several reasons. One is the obvious supply-demand issue. Inventory is low. We've got a huge supply-demand issue there.
Yep.
Other factors include foreclosures, still historic lows. Okay, and as a result to that, the bank sales have declined drastically. They were down almost 25% last year.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And I pulled some figures just looking at just foreclosures, just to give you an idea. So in 2017, there were about 1,600 foreclosures, Memphis, Shelby County. Back in 2008, the worst year, 6,400.
Wow.
So, yeah, wrap your mind around that for a minute. So all those bank sales that are, usually at 50% discounts, those lower volume are gone from the market. New home sales. We've been talking a lot about that. So they're still skyrocketing. Another new record on new home sales prices, almost to $340 last year on average.
That's the average.
On average.
Why do you think that is? Is it because there's so few lots available that builders are having to build a bigger product, or what is that?
Well, we got a lot of lots last year. We got a lot of lots added to Collierville. There was one quarter, I think it was third quarter, we had a ton of new lots added, which is great news. I think that we're getting larger homes in the market. I think that more custom homes, and then the supply and demand for new properties as well.
Rates are helping, I'm sure. Lower rates are helping people afford more of a house than they could if they were a little bit higher as well.
Right.
That's crazy, though. The new construction numbers
I know.
are still...
Yeah.
You think it's going to continue? I mean, I know you're not a fortune teller, but do you think it's going to continue?
I do. Definitely through this year, I do.
Really?
Yeah, and I think these prices that we're seeing are going to continue
to rise.
Now, I think the total number of sales might come down if we can't get people, if rates start to go up, if we're just pricing people out of the market. And I think that's happening already. We're getting there.
I started new construction when I started in 2001.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
And it wasn't that. We were selling way more $150,000 to $190,000 houses than anything.
Yeah, so in 2006, there were 4,300 new home sales averaging 265. 2017, there were less than 900, averaging 337.
Man.
So that inventory went from, having 4,000 to 5,000 in inventory down to under 1,000, and it's steady at that, which is good, because that means, the builders are keeping their confidence up as far as their activity, but they're not getting out of control with it.
Yeah, and I think the bankers are helping them with that. I mean, I think the bankers in a lot of circumstances have helped control some of that without knowing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Or trying to be too strict.
Well, it's more conservative than it was because we had that big boom, and then we had a lot of bankruptcies and foreclosures of these new, you'll still see spots of that around Shelby County where they haven't built out the subdivision. Because
whoever owned it went into foreclosure.
Right, and no one wants to take it over now because maybe it's the area that it's in, or, there's other factors at play. Yeah. Oh. Let's say that. But we're still seeing a lot of activity in Cordova where people are building them for rental properties as well.
Right.
So that's, knocking out your lower level or mid-level buyer from getting a new home.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you seeing in investor numbers for this year?
So in January, 45% of all the sales were investor purchases and 54% were buy out-of-town buyers.
Okay, let's say that again because I haven't heard that figure.
45% of January 2018 home sales were investor purchases, 54% by out-of-town buyers. Obviously, a lot of them are hedge funds and that kind of stuff. But yeah, and that brings me to another point on the pricing. So here's the price, right? Average price in January for an investor purchase, $87,000.
Which is skyrocketed. It's
skyrocketed, and that's one concern I have, and that's one of the other things I think is rising the prices because in areas like Fraser, I get calls, Wendy, I'm pulling comps, and how could Fraser be at 40, 50,000? How could it be at 70, 80? And I have to explain it because I think my numbers are wrong, which they definitely are not.
Right.
And I pull it and I say, well, because we have a lot of out-of-town buyers, unfortunately, that pay really high prices for some properties.
I have a client now, and Dan and I do, that is selling a portfolio of Fraser properties, and he's getting 50 to 60 grand.
On each property, in the package?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not for 10 of them. That's a legit question. No, not for 10 or 11 of them per house. And
I'd say that's low.
Oh, God, man.
If you look at the figures, and
which I'm telling him, he's asking me, he's like, should I accept? I'm like,
yeah.
Brother, you're getting 60 grand for a house in Fraser. Take that and run.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So you think it's going to continue?
I think it's going to continue through this year, and everyone says, well, Wendy, when are we going to see foreclosures picking up? Or, Wendy, when are the prices going to stabilize and start falling out? I think it's not going to be a housing crisis like we had before. Obviously, all the foreclosures I'm seeing from last year and even into this year, people have owned these homes 13, 14 years. We're still flushing out these bad loans. And if you think about it, all the regulations tighten so much that we're not going to have issues with a lot of these loans unless something happens with the economy and people start losing their jobs and the market crashes and we have an issue. That's what's probably going to drive the market.
So if we don't see that, you think we're going to keep plugging along?
I mean, I do, but some of my concerns are we've got bubbles. We're creating bubbles in some areas where the prices are getting a little too high. And now what happens when a hedge fund comes in and they want to get out of a certain market or certain area? How is that going to play out?
You've always been concerned with that, right?
Yeah.
With and I could name a few of them, but these big ones that come in here and buy, you're nervous about them just hightailing it.
Well, my concern is, say the market does fall, and say, here's another concern, rents in Memphis are at the highest they've ever been. So now we're pricing people out of homes for rentals, too, because they can't afford to rent. They can't afford to buy. They can't afford to rent. What happens when the economy turns? We don't have people to fill these rentals with, right?
Yep.
What is that investor out of town or hedge fund going to do with that property? Are they going to walk away from it? And they're all like cash. They're not mortgaged properties, so they're not going to have a foreclosure. But what are they going to do with them?
That's a great question. What are they going to do with them? They're going to sell them for,
and
85
if I'm an
cents on the
out-of-town
dollar?
investor and I've only got, a portfolio of 20 properties here, and now the market's crashed, everything's crashed, and I can't afford to maintain these homes anymore, we can't get rent. That's what I see happening in the future. I think it's going to be that's kind of...
Where they own 20 to 30, they can't afford to maintain them, the rent's not
The rent,
where
you
it
can't
should
find
be.
a person to rent it because the economy's, or they have to be lowered.
And then they're going to take 85 cents on the dollar and get out.
I don't know. I think we have a lot of cash buyers right now in our market, and I pulled the January figure, and what was it? 40%. Okay, so last year in 2017, all of last year, 40% of all home sales were cash buyers. There were
All
75
investment deals?
Not all investment, but
You just
a lot
mean
of them
period.
were. That's a lot. 40% of our market. There's no mortgage on at the time of sale. And then I did look. Oh, so the top lender for January was private lenders.
Hard money.
Second, number two lender for all of last year was private lenders. And so the average mortgage amount for the private loans was $87,000 on an average sale amount of $80,000.
Man.
So
They're borrowing the
they're
money.
borrowing,
to
they're
rehab it,
renovating, they're
too.
fixing them up, then they're selling it to an out-of-town buyer, and yeah.
So you don't tell me, because you seem hesitant with this, you seem almost scared of it.
Well, that's a lot of loans. To be the top lender, I mean, private lenders used to be way down on the list, and now they're the top.
So in other words, there's probably people out there getting loans that shouldn't be getting loans.
I don't know that they shouldn't be getting loans because they're not foreclosing on them, but to me, it's alarming because we have a lot of investor activity, and it's a lot of cash deals and
They're buying a whole lot of houses out there in that Arlington and Cordova
So that's what I
area.
was going to say. So when I looked at the January investor purchases, a lot from Arlington, Cordova, North and South Cordova, and all the Bartlett zip codes, and higher end, like way over $100,000 into the $200,000 range.
I put a house on the market yesterday morning in Bartlett. Needs some work.
Right.
I got 11 calls. I priced it at $99.9. I got 11 showings yesterday.
Wow.
And it needs work. I mean, like $15K in work. It
Wow.
doesn't need a paint job and a lawn cut. It needs $15K. 11 people called.
Wow.
That tells you anything about Bartlett. All my investors, every investor I have that's out of town is saying, hey, if you can find me a good deal in Bartlett for 85 or 90 grand that'll rent for 1,100, I'll take it. There's not one.
Bartlett, Arlington, Cordova, they can't keep homes on the market.
No.
Agents are complaining, I need more listings. I need more listings. I need more listings. Homes go in 24 hours flat. It's frustrating them because there's just no inventory. And then I've got people, in Midtown and downtown who have had, homes on the market for months. And Wendy's at a price, and I look at it and I say, no, it's not a price issue. You put it on right before the holiday. It's going to take a certain type of buyer who's going to buy in that area, in that neighborhood, and you just got to be patient and wait. Certainly, it's not a price. Yeah, it's not a price issue. It's
No, it's just a matter of somebody wanting that
time.
specific
Yeah, and
area.
some areas out in Cordova, they're just begging for people to list their home. Like they're knocking on doors, they're writing letters,
Agents are doing that?
trying to get people to list it
Man, I tell you,
because they know I've got a line of buyers over here
that's money for them instantly if they
on
can get
both
a
ends
listing.
if they can get it. Yeah.
And you actually know some agents that are door knocking.
Door knocking and doing like they'll take our neighborhood profile report and they'll do specific mailings to that subdivision with that information. Like, hey, look,
I have buyers.
average
right here.
prices are up 15% from a couple years ago. Homes are selling in 24 hours. Call me if you're interested in
Are
getting
they
out.
having success with that? Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad you come on here.
Now I'm giving away their tricks.
and
Right.
start mailing out to Cordova.
Well, there's certain I would say it's certain neighborhoods in Cordova, and that's another concern because, you know, a lot of the homes in Cordova, you got a lot of first-time home buyers. They are getting mortgages. They're getting appraisers coming in and appraising the properties at higher values, but they're shooting up in that area. You know, we were looking at a few yesterday, an agent and I, and you know, these people bought, you know, at the turn of the market, 2012, 2011, when they got a good deal on it.
Yeah.
But now they're making $50,000, $60,000. When's the last time you saw people making that kind of profit in a few years on a home? I mean,
no, not here.
It's been a long time.
That's fantastic though for them. That's great, I guess.
So,
I mean,
yeah, Cordova, Arlington, and Bartlett. That was big for investor purchase. And 38111, University area, was really big. So, you know, Raleigh, Fraser, they had a lot, but they weren't the majority, I wouldn't say, for the month.
Man, I love this information. I mean, it is good. Because you can break it down into, you know, specific areas of town. That's fantastic. What else you got for us this morning?
I think that might be it. I don't think that I have anything else.
What does Midtown downtown look like?
Midtown's still on fire. I mean, you've got that whole area around Crosstown that's really booming. A lot of agents and investors are buying in there, renovating and flipping in that area. Downtown, you've got all the condos. Condo sales were really great last year. You got Artesian downtown and a lot of different condo areas. And then you have some new construction downtown. Have you guys driven down South Main the last couple of years and seen all those apartments going up and all that?
Totally, yeah.
I mean, I had no idea, and I drove through the other day. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
because when I first moved to Memphis, I was on South Main, and none of that was there.
Thousands of units?
Probably. Well, probably hundreds and hundreds.
I would say hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah,
it's a lot of apartments that have gone up in the last several years.
Is that near the train station down there?
Yeah.
That's
all
what I've seen
down.
kind of
all
pop
down.
up.
But then you go down to the industrial area, and you've got like some new construction, so that's a little slower. But like the South Bluffs, all that, you can get a lot of money down there. Like,
hey, I'm telling you, this is, you know, I'll tell you this every time you come on. I love this information. I appreciate you coming on and giving us this
thanks
info.
for having me.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Guys, Wendy Greenlaw with Chandler Reports. Go log on to chandlerreports.com. Find some information that you're looking for on there. It is some of the best info. We use it every day. Wendy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have Dan come on here, and we're going to talk about 1031 exchanges. So you guys stay tuned. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Mostly cloudy and cool today. Temperatures in the mid and upper 40s with a few stray showers. Rain likely for tonight, especially across northern Mississippi, with lows in the mid 30s. Cloudy and cooler for your Wednesday with highs nearing 40. The sunshine is back with a high near 50 on Thursday. The cars you're looking for at a price you can afford, it's CK Auto Sales on South 3rd in Memphis, and they'll help you finance your next car. Call 901-789-2507. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Moody Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of the purchase in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan: BAFHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional, financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740. Picture your dream house. For you, it might be a sprawling property with mature trees and a winding driveway. Or perhaps it's something more cozy and closer to the mall. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage today. Tell us about your dream home. We want to make it a reality. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage at 206-930-1801 or visit spmc.com for more information. NMLS ID 1788, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Thank you to Wendy Greenlaw for coming on. That's some of the best information. She's really, really, really good at what she does. So if you guys are interested, go to chandlerreports.com and check her out.
I love data. I love data.
Yeah, I do too, especially when it is right at, the investment data. Tells us exactly all we need to know. Well, let's, Dan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. Good morning.
I want to, let's stick, we're going to kind of bounce around. We had another, we were going to start with 1031 exchange, but we'll come back to that. Let's stay with the Memphis market trends and what we're seeing and what's going on here. I mean, to get the information that she just gave us, to go to something else, I think would be silly. So let's stay with this. What, in our view, in our eye, what's the hottest for investors? I mean, I know what I've got, but what are you seeing?
Well, I mean, I knew Cordova. I mean, I knew Midtown, which she confirmed. Downtown it's a little different animal, and Bartlett, but I didn't realize Arlington. I would have thought from an investor standpoint.
They're flood. I knew that. The huge hedge funds are buying the $140,000 to $160,000 rentals out there as soon as they pop up.
It's crazy that there's enough renters in Arlington.
Well, there's not in Arlington, but they go out to Arlington for the schools. So they start here, and then they want to get out in the suburbs for schools and things like that. So they go out. Those people, those renters aren't from Arlington. I don't think. I mean, I guess some of them are, but most of those renters are not from Arlington or from Oakland or from way out there. They're from here going out that direction, and either they can't buy or don't want to buy, and they're renting. And but they still want a lot of those hedge funds criteria is like a 3.2, 2,000 and newer. It's got to have a garage, no power lines. I mean, they're family friendly. No pools. Right. I mean, it's a fairly strict criteria, but. Yeah, Arlington's crazy. I'm seeing.
Yeah, what's yours?
Bartlett, Whitehaven. Yeah, I mean, everything I get in Whitehaven, somebody wants to look at. But Bartlett for sure. I just got done telling Wendy this. I put a house on the market that needs 15. I'm being generous at 15. It could need 20. Put it on for $99.9. I got 11 showings yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, that fast, that quick. It sounds like I priced it too low. Probably should have gone up a little bit. Should have gone maybe 109.
109, yeah.
But yeah, so maybe we'll counter back above list. Save myself.
That's funny.
Oh, I've done it before.
Yeah.
So Midtown, downtown, Cordova, those are some of the hottest areas that I'm seeing. What about products? Is there something specific from a product standpoint that you're seeing?
Well, for me, as you know, I've had a ton of just people calling me about apartments. I mean, just left and right.
Wanting to sell them or wanting to buy them?
Wanting to buy. There's not enough product for apartments. People, because they can't buy enough houses, that's just part of a little bit of theory and opinion on this, but, people want to buy 5 or 10 houses. Well, they can't find those, so now they're saying, well, I mean, I just talked to a guy yesterday afternoon, came to the office. He sold his software company, and he wants to put $500,000 to work, and one of his options is to buy a $500,000 apartment. And met a guy from Nashville yesterday looking at a 100-unit apartment, and he's like, man, I can't buy anything in Nashville, unless it's speculative. I got to speculate to do it because the prices per the rent don't make any sense. So he's like, that's why I'm here. So he drove down
specifically for that,
specifically to try to deploy capital. And I told you about New York last week. I was up there with that real estate conference, which was a lot of fun. It was all about apartments. That was the conference, and investors, private equity, family money, family offices. Like where people made a bunch of money, and they got a team that deploys their capital, try to make money, and they're buying stuff in the Northeast for a 2% return, 3% return. So it's
crazy.
It's a crazy.
I used to think, man, that is like, and I asked the question at the break, why do that? But I mean, I guess if that's the only option to invest in,
I think that they're going to try. Some of that's value add play, right? How much more can they squeeze out of it by, that's what a lot of the conference topics was, adding amenities and adding common spaces. Like they were talking about, one guy had like a whole instead of like your little leasing office, you come in an apartment, it would have, right in the corner was the leasing office, but then there's the gym and a coffee bar and a study area and then a computer. You know what I mean? Like just this whole like community thing right in the middle.
In the building.
In the building, which is different than the old days. You usually you have a little tiny leasing office, then you have like a gym that was like a treadmill and a weight bench.
Right. In the corner.
In the corner that
there's a water fountain
afterthought,
over there.
or maybe a water fountain if you're lucky. And so that people are just really trying to think, and they're trying to gear this stuff for millennials, and people that are, older that, just don't want their house anymore and just want somewhere to, kind of live in a community that's kind of all encompassing.
Yeah.
Where they can kind of, quote, be entertained.
Yeah. Without leaving.
Without leaving. So it's just a different time, different products that people are coming up with to try to match what, the people this day and age want.
So I'm seeing $800 to $1,000 rentals is
that's
the
your
most
hottest.
That is the most popular right now for out-of-state folks is $800 to $1,000. And really, the question is that I get is not, hey, I want an $800 or $1,000 rental. They say, Dean, what's the sweet spot?
Yeah.
What do I, if you want the 20% returns and 25% returns, you can go to Fraser in some challenging areas, but they're challenging areas for a reason. So,
well, what's funny about that is like the guy I met with yesterday. He wants to deploy $500,000 to put to work, and he keeps getting pulled back into the thought that he needs to buy, $20,000, $15,000 houses.
Man.
And so I did the math with him, and I was like, look, the return on that $15,000 house looks awesome.
Yeah.
But
till you start fooling with it.
Till you start messing with it. I was like, it'll make money. It's just going to be hard money, meaning it's going to be a lot of work. Our team's going to have to work hard. You're going to be, not so happy with, maintenance and turnover and stuff like that. But, if you can, weather through that, then we'll make it happen for you. But, he knew in his mind, logically, he should stick to that $800 rental.
I don't
even with a low return.
Right.
So.
I tell my out-of-state investors to not buy it. I mean, I just tell them that they don't. I mean, you got to have a real appetite to be 2,000 miles away, and you're constantly getting maintenance calls. You got to have a real firm belief in what's going on. I mean, because it'll turn into, it sounds like this is a great business for you guys. You know what I mean? They turn the table on you. It's like, no. I mean, I told you this in the very beginning. A lot of headache in those lower, $15,000 to $20,000 price range properties, and I don't care where they're at. If that's how cheap they are, you're gonna have, a headache. It isn't a specific zip code or area. So, $800 to $1,000 rentals, the 90 to 140K range for these hedge funds, as we've talked about. Wendy mentioned new construction.
Yeah.
Obviously we're seeing a whole lot of that. Build to rent. We don't necessarily do that. I mean, we can, but
we have people that we line with that do.
So, I mean, we're getting a whole lot of investors that build to rent.
I got a crazy story for you.
Let's hear it.
So one of our clients, he gave us 3 or 4 houses to manage last week, brand new construction. So call it $1,450 rent.
Okay.
And so we're getting set up, getting ready to rent them, and the next day they said, hold up, don't sell those, don't lease these 2. We've sold them. And it's like, well, that's good, right? You're supposed to sell them. You're built to rent. You're selling them for an investor. But come to find out, they had listed them on MLS at a much higher price, and part of that was to try to help their comps.
Sure.
But they had people in 5 minutes
that wanted it.
A retail buyer for $180,000. So I'm telling you all that to say, they just did it just to help with comps, but then a retail buyer came in and said, I'll pay more than what they knew they could sell it to a buyer for rental, for investment. So,
boy, that's how thirsty and how hungry our market is.
Yeah.
So
he sold 2 of them like that just by putting them on MLS for 5 minutes. Didn't even, wasn't intending to sell them that way.
Yeah, but put him on there and got every bit of what he's looking for.
Every bit of what he looking for, less headache, So, anyway, just crazy.
So we've talked about some of the hot areas and where we would go and what we would take and what our investors are looking for. What are some of these areas that have the least demand? So this is important for a whole lot of my national investors. If you guys are listening now, these are some of the areas we would steer clear of. But what are some areas that you're having the least demand in?
That 38106 South Parkway area,
That's
South Memphis.
Zip code.
It's a tough zip code. I mean, there's some awesome houses down there, and we talked about this last year, but at some point that area is going to come back with the Midtown running out of room. But until that happens, I think that's going to be a hard,
It's a hard sell. It's a
yeah.
hard for tenants that want to be there.
Yeah.
We're talking about the area that is just west of Lamar down to the south downtown, right?
Yeah.
North of 38109.
Yep.
It's a tough little pocket over there. Where else? 38126.
That's been probably our lowest demand area, and that's one of the areas near and dear to my heart with Advanced Memphis and helping the nonprofits down there. But it's so hard because it's such a depressed area from people working and having jobs, and it's hard to own something down there that you want to make as a return because the economy and it's so challenged. Right?
What type of product is down there? Is that brick? Are they brick homes?
Yeah, most of them are brick. So it's
something good maybe to own for later.
Yeah.
38127, but I mean the way Wendy talks, 38127 is not that big of a challenge anymore. I mean,
127,
yeah. I mean, I don't get a ton of people that want that, but 38127, 38126, and 38106 are some of our more challenging zip codes here.
It's gonna be interesting to see what 127 looks like because of what Wendy described. I mean, with the turnkey guys going in there and fixing them up. I mean, now you got nice product up in Fraser that never would have been nice for years and years and years. I mean, there's a different way to spin that, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a complete turnaround.
It's new roofs, new HVAC, new water heater, new flooring, new tile, new cabinets. You
got to figure at some point. I mean, like it won't be Fraser anymore.
Right. That's right.
It'll be Fraser. I mean, it'll turn into something where it's more desirable. I mean, I guess. I mean,
well, it used to be desirable.
Way back when, yeah.
I mean, think about, and I had a guy theory on this a few months ago that. I mean, think how beautiful it is up there with the roll. That's the only place in town that's got kind of rolling hills.
Yep.
Where you got views. At some point that you would think that would make sense where you'd have some growth and some change to be a real positive. You just don't see any businesses. There's no franchises except for like a Burger King, McDonald's. You don't see.
There is a huge Nike plant right up there between Raleigh and Fraser.
I thought that would have made a much bigger impact before now, but it hasn't.
A lot of jobs.
Because I own my first apartment's right up the street from there, and I don't know if I've had the first Nike employee yet.
Really?
Yeah.
How many jobs is that? Do you know?
It's hundreds and hundreds. There's 3 shifts. Every time I drive up there, 7 days a week. That's
a big plant.
Hundreds and hundreds of trailers moving in and out of there every day. I mean, it's big, and they just expanded it too. So,
North Mississippi is an area we don't talk about a ton. But it's, and the reason why is it's just not big enough. I mean, when I first started in investment real estate with you in 2011, you could find property in Horn Lake, which is, Twin Lakes, DeSoto Village, for 25 grand that needed 10 and work that would rent for $800. Fantastic returns. Just this past week, I got on the MLS for an investor that was asking me about a house down there, and I just searched under 50,000. One house.
One house?
One.
Wow.
Went on to HUD Home Store where you used to find a ton of product on there that was being sold. Nothing. So everything under 50 grand has gone in Horn Lake. It's just a sign of the investment times. I mean, Twin Lakes and DeSoto Village are major investment communities, a lot of tenants in there.
What do you feel about it as far as the rentability and the tenant base in North Mississippi versus Memphis?
It's better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Better jobs?
Better jobs, just better tenants.
Yeah.
You're getting normally 2 incomes in the household.
Okay.
A lot of those folks work at the airport and work
right on the state line.
Off Shelby Drive or state line, right in some of those warehouses. So it's blue collar, but it's good areas, good people. So, I mean, if there were, if that area was much bigger, it would be drawing a whole lot more attention. It's just now, for that example, that Horn Lake example, people go down there and buy up Horn Lake so quick. I mean,
there's nothing left.
There's nothing left. I mean, I wouldn't pay 50 grand for that. I mean, that one just a few years ago, you get it at 30.
Right.
So, I mean, some parts of South Haven are really good, and those hedge funds buying. The hedge funds aren't in North Mississippi because they're all over the place. They're in Olive Branch and South Haven as well.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we see the returns moving, Dan? It's let's talk about this for a second. I want to get your opinion on this, and we'll take a quick break. But where do you see the returns moving, leverage versus unleveraged? Why don't you give me some examples of that?
I see, in Memphis, the returns are for A properties going, 5 to 7%, for unleveraged. B is probably 6 to 9, C 10 to 15. Apartments. I mean, I've seen that getting driven down. I mean, it's going down to, it's a wider range, 4 to 10% probably. I mean, there's an apartment we manage that wasn't for sale that's going to get sold. One of our clients. And, I mean, I did that return. I think that's a 7% return.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it.
And the client couldn't
believe that he was getting that much.
That's
for
right.
it.
He's like, why wouldn't I sell?
So I had lunch with him Friday. He's like, what would you do? I was like, golly, man. I mean, that's what you're getting, and that's the price. Take it.
He was laughing at me because he's like, I know you wouldn't sell. I was like, I wouldn't sell.
Yeah, but it's just two different business models.
You have to deploy the capital again. He's got to scramble.
Well, that's why we met.
And reinvest.
He's going to buy 15
which leads into our next discussion about 1031s. But
yeah, he's going to buy, and we can go into that. But he's going to buy 15, 16 single-family homes with it.
Yeah, out of his 1031.
Yeah. All right, let's take a real quick break, guys. I've got Dan Butler in the studio with CrestCore Realty. We just got done talking a little bit about our Memphis market. We're going to come back and discuss 1031 exchanges. We're going to explain what those are and talk about some of the ins and outs of that. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Mostly cloudy and cool today. Temperatures in the mid and upper 40s with a few stray showers. Rain likely for tonight, especially across northern Mississippi, with lows in the mid 30s. Cloudy and cooler for your Wednesday with highs nearing 40. The sunshine is back with a high near 50 on Thursday. The cars you're looking for at a price you can afford, it's CK Auto Sales on South 3rd in Memphis, and they'll help you finance your next car. Call 901-789-2507. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of the purchase in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan: BAFHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional, financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740.
Griffin, Cliff, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Real quick here, let's dive into this. Your investments of the week: 3845 Patty Ann, $79,500. It's occupied at 925. 3845 Patty Ann, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $79,500. And it's occupied at 925. Number 2, it's a 5,000 block, 5931 Hickory Leaf, $74,900. It's occupied at 875. That's also a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So two really good ones. You can check them out on the website www.CrestCoreRealty.com. We've got everything listed on there. You can also register to become a preferred buyer on that website, CrestCoreRealty.com. So before we left, we were talking about the Memphis market. We've had Wendy Greenlaw on the show today discussing the Memphis market. Let's get into 1031 exchanges. A lot of investors will come to Memphis with the 1031 exchange, and what that is it's a program where it allows an investor to sell a property in a different area of the country and come and take those funds and use them here or use them anywhere.
In the U.S.
In the U.S., that's right. So it's literally an exchange. So if you're selling, example, we'll talk about the investor we just did. If he sells...
But why do you do it?
You do it for the tax break and the benefit of not having to pay the gain on that product.
That's right.
So if you make X amount of dollars, in gain, you're going to pay 25-30% taxes, whatever the number is. To avoid paying those in taxes, you roll it right back over into another similar or like property or properties. So what investors are doing, we'll use our client here. He's selling a local, and you can do it local to local. I mean, we just see more selling
West
out
to east.
west, coming
or
east.
north to south.
Because of the money, the value and the product that you're getting. But $1.6 million he's getting for this apartment complex. We met for lunch on Friday, and our strategy was let's go buy 15 to 16 rental properties or single family properties with this money. He can avoid, he's got a pretty good sized gain. So he can avoid paying those taxes on there. What are some of the other advantages, Dan? Or give us some examples. Talk about exchanges. Have you completed one before? You probably hadn't had to, have you?
I have not, because I don't sell as a general rule. And if I do sell, there's not much bone left on the
meat on the bone.
Yeah, just because it's probably from the house I got from the bank, or we got from the bank that we just did a favor to the bank. So it's something that's what it was worth 10 years ago. It's still worth the same. So but the whole point is the IRS is nice enough to have a broad definition of you have to buy like properties, or like investments. That's the whole point of 1031. But you can go from apartments to houses to an apartment. You can buy something that you can fix up. There's at least that part's broad, I think, but the actual law of getting it done is much more stringent. So
they allow you to argue that point too.
The likeness, yeah, that's right.
They allow you because you have to hire a law firm,
intermediary kind of thing,
that's licensed to do it, or that's authorized to do it. And I think you can argue that point through them. So if you're trying to do something that's a little different than what you're selling, they're pretty lenient from what I understand.
Yeah, as long as, that's one of our clients is an attorney in California that just specializes in that he helps people navigate that path
process.
But yeah, it's definitely for our west and north investors specifically, and now turning into a little bit of Memphis local guys, girls that own property that has appreciated, or they paid it down, and market's hotter than as Wendy pointed out multiple times this morning, that we could make some good money. 1031 is the way to go. I was talking to one of my mentors yesterday morning, who came to the office, and I was talking, if I sold my properties, what would that look like? He said, you'd have to figure out what to do with it. Yeah,
because you wouldn't want to give the government all that money.
No.
Yeah, no way.
No, but
so here's how it works. You let's say you're sitting in California and you have a property you're selling for $2 million. What you do is, as soon as you close on that property, you've got 45 days to identify and to list the property or properties that you're going to buy with this exchange money. After that 45-day time period, you have another 4.5 months to close on that.
Right.
So from the time you sell your initial property to closing on the new one, you've got a total of 6 months.
Right.
And you've got the first 45 days you have to identify which properties you're going to go after. So I've seen some guys put up some backups on there. You can list as many or whatever you want to on there, but in order to exchange properly, you've got to close on what you've identified in those first 45 days.
Right.
So they give you some time to do it, but your clock starts. So if when you close on something, if you're smart, you should be looking well before you close. But when you close, your clock starts for 45 days to identify. I had a guy this week that's doing one. He's coming in, he's buying a package of 5, and he identified the 5 that we're buying, and he identified 5 more backups.
Just in case.
Just in case the inspections are bad, or just in case the title works bad, whatever it may be, and he can't close. He doesn't want to have to pay the gain on any of it. So he's got 5 backups in case, worst case they all 5 fell through. He's got 5 that will back it up. So you've got that time frame that you can identify those.
The big piece that doing a little bit more research. I've kind of known a little bit about these because we've helped clients over the years, but it's just the fact that you could, almost like double down, meaning, if you had $1 million investment in California and you had a $400,000 gain, well, then you could go buy $2 million worth of property, right?
That's right.
Instead of $1 million, you could double down and take that 400 and turn it into $2 million worth of investments at 20% down and leverage the rest.
Let me ask you this. So if you're buying let's say you sell for $2 million, but you owe $1 million. This is a question I really don't know the answer to. Do you sold for $2 million, you owe $1 million? Do you have to go spend 2, or do you just spend the 1 that you got in gain? I think the answer is you got to spend 2.
I think you got to spend 2.
Yeah, so you can't just pay off a loan for the $1 million and then use the $1 million and go buy other like properties. You've got to spend $2 million.
Yeah, we're getting out of our league here. Probably should ask some experts, but I think that's the case. You got to spend what the value of what you sold.
Even if you owe money on it.
Even if you owe money.
Yeah, because I think our client on Friday was talking about how he's got to go find
several $100,000 more.
Several $100,000.
That's right.
To pay for the 1 point. Okay.
So I think most of our clients have owned stuff like out west with all cash.
Yeah.
So it's just a 1-to-1, kind of thing. But if you have a note on it, I think that is right. And I think probably one of our takeaways after the show is go verify
follow
that
up
for
on that and come back.
Let the audience know. But
why do these clients do it other than the capital gains? Is there anything else? Any other reason why you would do a 1031 exchange? There might not be. any other benefit from it? I mean, it's just taxes, right?
It's just taxes. I think that's the big gain. I mean, I think that, and then just being able to redeploy to a higher return area. You know, when you move that money, it would not do you much good go West Coast to West Coast or north to north.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, if you sold something and appreciated, you know, I always think about even like my personal house, for example, with the market hot. Hey, I'm gonna get a premium on my house.
Right.
Well, unless I have a foreclosure or I have an in on a,
you're about to go buy it at a
I'm
premium.
going to buy them at a premium as well in a local market. But a local, you know, Californian sold it hot can move to another state where it's not so hot, and that's where you get, you know, double, triple your return on your investment. You know, now you're taking a lot of risk by going outside your backyard, right?
Yep.
And somewhere you're familiar with or the different type of asset class.
Yep.
That's the downside.
Yep.
But I think most people would say they hope that even with the downside. I mean, the one guy you had last month that bought the 5, you know, he's like, well, even if you're off by 2 or 3%, that was his statement to me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm still better than I was staying in California.
Way better. So that rolls right into this next question.
Yeah.
Where do we get these from? I mean, where do these guys come from typically? California, New York?
New York, yeah, Chicago. You know, they just any of the hot markets. I mean, some Florida. We got that couple guys from Florida now that are talking to us that you know,
purchased
some
it.
Phoenix. You know,
every place where property appreciates.
That's right. Any
at a big level.
You know, we haven't seen many Texas. It's surprising that not many people from Texas. You would think that might be moving this way.
Well, I haven't. I don't have any. I don't think.
No. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, I just don't think that's. I don't know where they go. That'd be a good question for somebody, but maybe they stay local.
Maybe stay in Texas.
Yeah,
and
stay in
get out of
Austin.
Texas.
Because Austin, Dallas, Houston, all those markets are hot. So
sure. Okay, so guys, we've covered a lot today. Wendy Greenlaw was on the show. She's with ChandlerReports.com. You guys be sure to go check that out. She is fantastic when it comes to that information. Dan and I talked about a couple of different topics, but our Memphis market and our trends, what we're seeing, some of our hottest areas, Midtown, downtown Cordova, the 118, 116 zip code. So Bartlett, as I mentioned, I have a listing there that I probably didn't list high enough. If I got that much attention on it. Products that are hot, apartments, $900 to $1,000 rentals. We talked about some new construction. We touched on North Mississippi a little bit, and then we dove into the 1031 exchange here. So wide spectrum of information this morning. If you have any questions about what we've talked about or you want to rewatch the show, go to the Facebook page, The Memphis Real Estate Hour. You can check it out there. Also, our company website, www.CrestCoreRealty.com. So check it out there. Dan, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. We'll be back next Tuesday, same time, same place. So you guys tune in then. We'll see you then. You listen to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.